Today is my last day at my current job in Barcelona. I have cleared my workspace, everything I needed to tie up before leaving, and I'm ready to skedaddle and hand in my work. So I think that when it comes to my review of Barcelona, how and why I came to Barcelona, I feel it plays a pretty big role in what I expected and how I choose to see the city and country. I came to Barcelona mainly for work, first of all. I have a video on this that I will add that you can always check out for my choice to go there and my first impression. But I think I can start this one off with reviewing my work experience more or less. I feel like my work was exactly what I expected. It was a position as a Google Ads consultant for a Danish market, and I wanted to gain experience in that particular field for my own future freelance skills, so that was such a great opportunity in itself. Work was also mostly from home, which always is perfect and ideal, and the team that I worked with was super nice, kind, and helpful. Onboarding for the position was a little hectic, but it was also a rather big company and doing everything digitally due to lockdowns, so it was a little messy to navigate at times, even though we did manage finally. Getting my papers sorted for the taxes and company insurance was also not too much of a hassle with the help of the company, which is always my favorite way to navigate foreign country bureaucracy when it can be helped. I worked around 39 hours a week, 1 hour break, and 30 minutes little breaks spread out throughout the day. Compared to my work in Lisbon, this was one of the less overwhelming and also more useful in terms of skills and experience and exposure to connections. So I was really happy about that. The pay in Spain is also higher than in Lisbon, so that was a plus, even though yes, life is also a bit more expensive in Spain compared to Portugal, but I think all in all, the work experience was a good one. The fact that Barcelona has plenty of sunshine and sunny days, I feel, is already a great backdrop for a more enjoyable lifestyle for most Black people. We that need a bit more sun to thrive at least. I love that I could go on walks during my lunch and soak up some sun in the park or even take a nap. Even in the colder months, this was mostly possible. I also like that once I had finished work, there was still enough sunshine to enjoy being outside, meeting with friends, or even running errands. Oftentimes, my usual day of work would be a morning with a slow wellness routine, then work, then a walk to stretch my legs during lunch or get some sun, then finish work and might meet up with friends, go run errands, or work out in the cooler evening sun. On Fridays, since work finished around 4 p.m., it was also possible to make it to the beach nearby for a little swim, though honestly, I often avoided the beaches closer to the city. For some reason, I'm always very skeptical about beaches too close to big cities. Something about it just feels a bit off. On weekends, my favorite thing to do was to actually leave Barcelona and go somewhere where I could not hear a single car or even see the city if I could help it. With my Metro card, I was able to take it all the way to the foot of many hiking trails. This was definitely one of the things I loved about Barcelona, how close you were to total nature and calmness and bird sounds and pine smells just a few stops away. It is the main thing that softened my love for the city and made it possible to enjoy my stay a bit more, because on weekends I could always look forward to a little getaway in a forest nearby. The other day of my weekend I usually would spend prepping for the new week, cooking, relaxing, and getting groceries, the usual. Since I work from home, I did not need to take public transport too often, which was amazing. I could often get away with buying 2 times the 10 ticket for a total of 22 euros a month to cover most of my travel in the city or my hikes and getaways on the weekends. You can also get a city bike card for 50 euros a year, which was too wild for me to dare invest in, but an option many friends made great use of. Within the city, and when I had enough time, I much prefer to just walk everywhere since that is often my favorite form of everyday transport. And since I find city public transport too busy and too crowded most of the time, I'm always happy to avoid it when possible and just choose the walkable route. When it comes to thrifting or buying consciously and thoughtfully produced products and clothing, I was pretty impressed with the selection that Barcelona had to offer. From the range of Humana thrift shops to the entire street and area dedicated to secondhand and vintage clothing, to small eco shops and locally made products and artwork, I was spoiled with options, and it made it so easy to find beautiful things and treasures without having to support fast fashion or producers. I imagine that even if you wanted to furnish an entire house, you could do so without ever stepping into an IKEA, just from the discarded furniture on the street or available secondhand stores. I really love that about the city. The city also has an impressive recycle system. Trash cans are plenty and spread out consciously, but people also seem to take their recycling rather seriously, which was very encouraging to see in such a big city where we of course certainly produce a lot of waste. I have come to see that most Southern European countries just often have a better offering of fresh and organic produce. The weather is ideal for growing plenty of produce, and the fact that it does not have to travel thousands of kilometers ensures that you are offered a great pick of fresh, mature fruits and veggies. I love the abundance of fresh produce, and after a while I also recognized which stores to shop at that offered organic and locally grown and seasonal produce. My favorite shops that I would recommend for this are shops such as Veritas, which focuses on mostly organic, sustainable, and seasonal produce. Ametlé Origine, I don't know if that's how you say that, which cares a lot for local and farm-to-plate quality produce, but I truly love their cut-up fresh veggies, which made cooking so much easier on a day where you couldn't be bothered and were tired. Ready cut up vegetables was something I saw a lot in Barcelona in general. There was also Mosa, a co-op health store with some of the friendliest people you could ever imagine to work in food stores. There were also a few bulk shops in the city that offered everything from everyday supplies, such as shampoo and soap, to food and dried fruits. I was very impressed to discover how much the city had to offer in terms of sustainability, health, and socially conscious products. Finding vegan food and products was not hard in stores and places where the shops were already trying to mainly offer socially conscious products. I was also very happy to notice how easy it was to eat out as a vegan. The options were truly endless and most of them pretty delicious. It was not hard to go out with friends, arrange dinners or dates or brunches where there was something for everybody. My favorite places to eat plant-based were places like Flax and Kale for salads, smoothies, juices, and warm dishes. There was Moa's that had great vegetarian falafels. There was Veg World India for Indian food, obviously. There was Taco Alto for tacos, and Shock for cakes and sweets and treats. Of course, Honest Greens, which never disappoints. And a few African mentions. There was Kabongo for Western African dishes, but a bit, like a bit Pan-African take. For great Ethiopian take, there was Tai Tu, which offered great cuisine as well. We ate there once, but it was definitely delicious. Those are the two main ones I tried out that were African food inspired, but Kabongo for sure stole my heart, and I'll definitely go back to Barcelona just to eat there. Check it out if you're ever in the city. Okay, so for community and friends, community was something that I really loved during my time in Barcelona. I was able to make a few friends already from my work, which of course had a lot of expats and people from Denmark. Even though we were working from home, we were still able to connect with a few people and gain some good relationships beyond our work. It was also in Barcelona that I really discovered the beauty and magic of Bumble BFF and what a change that had on my experience there. I was able to create a group of sisterhood more than I could have ever imagined or hoped for. I found some people who were locals but also a few expats, which made for a wonderful mix of community and friendships. Making friends and connections in Barcelona was definitely much easier than it had been in Lisbon and even Brazil.
Men det også altid sådan, jeg har det. Jeg starter altid ud sådan, I don't know what's happening. Og så når jeg ved, okay, let's do it.
Locals and racism. Maybe it's a weird combination, but yeah. Basically, yes, racism in Barcelona was definitely felt more than other places I had lived in Europe. What was also impressive was how open it was. When I was trying to open up a bank account at Sabadell, a lady told me upfront that even though my nationality was Danish and European, because I was born in Uganda, my account would most likely be closed due to suspicion that it could be used for fraud, because certain African countries just trigger that from the system. She refused to help me open an account, and I was in shock. I asked her if she was aware that that was discrimination, and she boldly said in front of her other colleagues and clients that yes, but that was the way that system operated, and there was nothing she could do about it. I was in so much shock and disbelief that I had the same papers as my friends with the same nationality working at the same company, and they had been able to go through without much of a hassle. Once I had collected myself, vented to my mom back home, and before I made a proper complaint, I decided to visit another bank location of the same branch and see if they would tell me the same nonsense. I presented all the normal papers I was told I needed and the same passport, and the lady just proceeded with the process without a pause. I asked if it mattered that I was born in Uganda, and she looked at me weirdly and said no, why would it? It was no issue, and she could open the account for me right there and right away. I told her of the experience I had had earlier that day, and she apologized and said that that was not true, and that of course I could open my account. Other experiences of discomfort was when eating out and sometimes having very rude service, waiters whose face changed to happier ones when white people showed up versus people of color. Other than that, having already known that the racism in places like Spain has been documented to be very blunt at times, I honestly felt that I came prepared, and I was there to enjoy my work experience, the beauty I could find, and community I could build beyond a few ignorant, hate-infested, and miserable beings. In general, however, when it comes to the locals in Barcelona, I did not find the Spaniards themselves to be particularly warm or open to foreigners, and when they wanted to give you a hard time, they really went for it. I also did meet a lot of lovely locals happy to help or assist. The loveliest local I met for sure was my landlord, a Catalan lady who was super sweet and helpful, and she was always so open to teach me about her culture and their food, and also the unique differences between the Catalan and the Spaniard culture, a subject I was truly fascinated by before even coming to Spain. Since Barcelona is rather mixed, however, living amongst so many people from so many different countries did often help in making you feel less foreign or unwelcomed. Wherever I live, nothing makes me love it more than all the little getaways at one's fingertips. I love how easy it was to do little weekend trips or day trips out of Barcelona. Places I really enjoyed visiting were, for example, Girona, a little town north of Barcelona with interesting architecture. Sitges, south of Barcelona, which I also enjoyed a bit more, with its beautiful beach and cute town and stunning white buildings. I truly felt like that getaway was by far one of the best ones. There was also the drive and hiking around Montserrat mountain, which is like 1 hour from Barcelona. In Catalan, the place is known as Montsagrat, which basically means sacred mountain, which is famous for its Benedictine monastery of Santa Maria de Montserrat, which houses an ancient wooden statue of the Virgin and Child, also known as the Black Madonna. It was one of my favorite day trips, and the hike and views were super beautiful as well. I also got to enjoy a day trip to Saint Paul de Mar to enjoy a quieter and less crowded beach day with a friend who always knows the best, beautiful places to go.
So nice. I like the birds. I feel like you would love it. It's exactly that kind of vibe, and even better because a lot of the places are also cheap. Like you can go so far for so little. It's from Lisbon. I think you should. I know. That's a bit creepy, but interesting. No, because at first I didn't see him, you know.
Besides that, I also got to spend several days hanging out in the smaller mountain towns just outside of the city. These were perfect for little days out hiking and solo getaways not too far from the city. And those were just a few of the things and places I got to explore in the 10 months I was there. For sure, I would have loved to do even more, for example, maybe visit some of the nearby islands. But that, I guess, is for another time. I was also surprised at the diverse selection of African products in Barcelona. I think for having natural hair, doing your hair, or just wanting everyday products that natural girls need, there was a lot of options. And you didn't have to go to some weird end of the city or outskirts. A lot of it could be found in the center of Barcelona itself. Luckily for me, as you already know, I have locks, so I didn't need much of any of that, but I was still happy that the options were there and they were abundant, to say the least, in products. Honestly, I felt that the city was pretty gay-friendly and open. So when it came to that, neither me or my partner felt a lot of weirdness around that as a couple. Did you feel weird as a gay person in Barcelona, Delphine?
No.
Exactly.
So basically, this was a place that I felt you could be very comfortable as a queer person. I also got to see a lot of flags around, like pride flags, and also couples, foreign and local, in the city holding hands or showing PDA without much discomfort. So all in all, that was a great experience, no issues there. I only moved once while in Barcelona, from the room that was arranged for me by my company to the official room and shared flat. I ended up spending my time there. I managed to find a place where, of course, cleaning and all bills were included in the rent for a more hassle-free experience. This is always what I look for when I'm living in a shared space. I don't want to worry about cleaning, and I don't want random added-on bills every month. I want everything to be clear and signed from the beginning, so that I also know how to budget the rest of my money while there. I did consider moving at some point though, just to live somewhere larger, even more calm and comfortable. But finding accommodation in Barcelona can be very tiring, and the studios and great rooms can also be rather expensive compared to the income that you make. I finally ended up just staying where I was in the Sagrada de Familia neighborhood. My balcony had a beautiful view of the famous Basilica of La Sagrada Familia by Gaudi, and I even got to witness the addition of a star on the basilica that is yet not finished from the window of my room. That was a magical moment that I will forever cherish. I love how accessible everything I needed was within walking distance. It could be very crowded during the tourist season, but overall it was a neighborhood that felt very calm and local, and it was bathed with beautiful big trees, which I'm a big sucker for. All in all, I did fully enjoy my stay in Barcelona. By the time I left, I was also ready to move on. I was really pleased to carve a little corner out for myself in an otherwise super busy and sometimes chaotic city. I love the relationships I built there too, from the local shop owners on my block who I grew rather fond of, to the lovely co-workers and the lovely friendships I built there. I would say that besides how walkable the city was, the great produce and closeness to big spaces of nature, my other favorite thing was for sure the amazing expat friends I made there, and who I hope to remain friends with for a very long time. I think all in all, Barcelona was a lovely experience beyond what its initial goal was, just to get work experience. And it's a period in my life that I will also cherish moving forward and in future travels.